Hey guys, another ladder game against the Zerg, TvZ. I'm the T, he's the Z. And in this game I did something kind of stupid, really stupid build. I was just kind of, I don't, sometimes you get bored of doing the same build all the time, even if it still works, so I just do other stuff, and I'm like, I wonder if this will work kind of randomly. And usually when you do that, what you want to do is try the other build on a custom map and work out the timings of it before you just up and go throw it at someone in the middle of a game. So I went reactor first, no supply depots, and then two supply depots at once, and then a tech lab, and no command center. Usually I get a 4-minute command center against Zerg. Pretty important to either do some sort of really strong timing push and punish them for over-econing, or have a big econ of your own, because if you let them get a big economy and then you don't kill them or get your own big economy, you just kind of are behind for no reason. Like, what was the point in that? So I pulled everyone out of gas now, and I'm going to throw it on a command center. Really slapdash crazy disgustingness with my build. I've got a Reaper to just go scout, which is kind of silly because against Zerg you don't really need to scout. Okay, I shouldn't tell you guys that, it's a secret, but in my opinion you don't really need to scout other than scouting for expos. Because what could he be doing, seriously? You know, it's not like I'm going to go up there and see a giant army coming to kill me. If he has a giant army coming to kill me, he's not going to show it to one Reaper. He can fight a Reaper off with queens. He doesn't need to show you anything. So you can maybe see his tech buildings, but Zerg always get the same tech buildings, and you don't know whether or not he's used them to make troops. Anyway, so the Reaper's just checking for any early third or anything like that. I'm going to come down and secure my expo with just 2 racks of units. And factory and starport. I got a siege tank, and then, like, if we look, we know the Terran benchmarks by now, right? You start with 1,000 at 6 minutes, then you add 500 every minute, and then you start adding 750 from 8 minutes on. So let's take a look at my army size right now. At 9.5 minutes, that's kind of a stupid time to check it, but it should be halfway between 2,750 and 3,500, and it's nowhere near either of those, right? I've got 1,800. Plus 2 plus 4 is 6. So 2,500. 2,500. Not a very large army, but he does this thing that Zergs do so often, which is to half-ass it. He wants to attack you with the smallest amount of stuff he possibly can while still droning as hard as he can back home. So we're just going to send like a smattering of lings over here and see what he can get done. And he does kill 13 workers, and that's cool. But if he had a $3,000 army, or a reasonable army, like at 10 minutes you can have a $4,000 army, you can have a $5,000 army if you exactly perfectly spend every single penny, and you droned really hard in the early game. So to attack me with 1,400 bucks, it just seems a little bit weird. Like, why do that? But he did kill some workers, so it just kind of by dumb luck, the fact that I had done this stupid build, didn't have siege mode yet, didn't have bunkers down on the low ground, and yet I'd put all these workers down here ready to be killed. He got a bunch of kills, so that kind of sucked. Economically speaking, I want 44 workers at this time, but because he's killed 13 of them, I only have 32, so that's really like 45 that I would have had, and so that would, I'm making enough workers. I just lost a bunch of them. So he's got this decent economic lead. It's decent, it's not huge. 44 workers at 11 minutes is actually quite pathetic for a Zerg. Usually you want 52 by 10. You'll often see Zergs go to 46 and stay there until 12 minutes, until they get their third, basically. But it's possible to have, 80 workers at this point for Zerg, so I don't know. He seems to be kind of late worker-wise. So he's got this little economic lead, not a big one. I've got a couple of siege tanks, a couple of medevacs, and some marines, and I'm going to try to siege from the low ground up here to the high ground. And this is a stupid idea just in general, because he's got creep right here. So basically the curvature of the earth is in my favor. I just like saying that. In this push, you put yourself in this gully, and then in order to hit you, he has to come all the way around and kind of wrap around in there. But because it's on creep, and he's got mutas and lings, are the fastest freaking things in the universe, it's not really a big deal for him to curve around like that. So the terrain isn't really working as much into my advantage as it would be if I learned to play. Also, I sieged up the tanks and then just kind of abandoned them with my Marines, and just lost all my Marines with no tanks involved. as you can tell, I'm really used to Marine Medevac. I am not used to making tanks and using them well. I didn't use them well at all. But my Reaper did do some awesome stuff up here while the rest of his army was distracted fighting the rest of my army. So he came out pretty far ahead. He's 500 bucks ahead in that engagement. But now he has this third that's really low health. So that kind of sucks, right? Because I can kill this with like a spitball. So what does he do? Knock it down and then rebuild it himself? He should have canceled it is what he should have done. This siege tank is like suicidally running up here like, hey, you should kill me, I'm killable. So now he's $1,000 ahead on damage done. He's still got more workers than me, but we're about even on money coming in. I think he's transferring workers right now. But as soon as they're done transferring, we'll be about even on income. Because having 2 orbitals means I'm up 8, so it's like as if I had 53 and he's got 51, so it's basically the same income. And I'm working on some more racks and some more slow-ass upgrades. Usually by 15 minutes I have 2 upgrades on my inventory, so I'm just barely getting my my armor upgrade. Very sad for me. And at this point, everything's gone so poorly that even though I started off with this ridiculous 2 racks kind of TVP-ish build, he's decided to opt for mutas. And I know what works great against mutas, highly upgraded Marines with medevacs, and so I'm just going to kind of take the situation that I'm in right now and try to turn it into what I'm used to. So throw down a bunch more racks, get the same 2 starports I always get, stop using the factory altogether, and make a ton of an engineering bay and armory, get a ton of Marines, and then go from there. So once I eventually transition into a ton of Marines, things will start going better, hopefully. Because right now, siege tanks and Marines and medevacs, just I don't know how to use those units together and against Zerg to make things happen, and I don't want to learn. I had a bad idea, I did it, and now I regret it, and I'm going to transition to a normal game. So this is something I do a lot. Take the double bunker by the gas, and then get a turret here, and then you don't need the planetary, you can just get orbital. I'm also getting building upgrade. Am I? No, I'm not getting building upgrade. I will eventually get building upgrade. Throwing down even more racks, rallying some dudes up here. Now I've got just a smattering of siege tanks, tons of medevacs, and a bunch of Marines. Because I'm trying to transition from a gas-heavy build into a mineral-heavy build, I'm ending up with all this gas. Because I mined gas, like I made mining gas a priority, and then I transitioned to a build that can't spend it. Also, I've got a ton of workers that are just not doing anything over here in my main. I would normally transfer them to my third, but I don't want to transfer during this fight. Sorry not to show you the fight. Hang on. So here we go. Army size, total army size for me is pretty big, but I think that a lot of it isn't actually in this position. So remember my Reaper got this hatchery super low? I was like, you know, I can't just leave a super low health hatchery alive. That's just ridiculous. So before this fight, I'm down 1,100 on damage done, and then this fight goes really badly for the Zerg, and he just comes out 7,000 versus 6,000, 1,200 behind. So that was cool. Knocked down a hatchery and bunch of drones, and came out relatively even on the army exchange, and all as well. I know I said that I was down 1,000, and then I pointed to right here, and it didn't show me down 1,000. But before I killed the hatchery is what I meant. I was down 1,000. Killing the hatchery and all the drones actually caught me up before the fight itself actually happened. So now I'm going to sneak in here and knock down this other hatchery. This is something you really got to get used to with Terran doing Marine Medevac kind of play. When a bunch of banelings pop, it takes like a minute to get more banelings, and a lot of times Zergs don't even immediately make more banelings. They like keep working towards whatever tech they were working towards. They don't expect the next battle, is what I'm trying to say. They mop up your army, kill all your tanks, kill all your Marines, and now they're expecting you to make more tanks before you push out again. And tanks take a long time to build. So if you attack immediately after losing an attack, you can get in there when there's no banelings to mop you up and just do some damage. So I knocked down that hatchery, and now the whole game just kind of went to crap. So he was winning this game by a decent margin. I mean, he wasn't like winning like I'm about to win, but he was like ahead. But now he's pretty far behind. He's basically not mining, except for a little bit at his main, very little bit. and just he's got another base fully saturated over here, but that's like one base, and I'm taking command centers everywhere, and he can't really stop me. So here he's got a bunch of ultras, and he's like, I'm gonna kill all your marines with my ultras because I'm the man. The man now, dog. And he does easily mop that up with ultras. And now the way you deal with ultras when you're stuck on marine medevac, marines are terrible against ultras, right? Because ultras have a ton of armor. But ultras are terrible against buildings. They rely a lot on their splash damage. They're kind of a low damage unit. Zerglings, massively huge damage unit. Ultras, pretty low. Lots of health, very little damage. But with splash, so awesome. So if you fight ultras in the middle like this is terrible because their splash works. Like they're splashing with all of these hits. Also, they can kind of surround and all get in and start fighting your marines. Where you really want to fight ultras is not in the middle of the field. Where you really want to fight them is behind some buildings. So you know how during that fight all of the ultras were trying to get in range of marines? See, they're all trying. Like, only 4 of them are hitting, and the last 3 are trying to get in there. They're constantly trying to get in there, trying to get in there. What you want is for them to stop trying so hard and just start hitting your buildings. Because they're such a low damage splashy unit, buildings don't really take splash damage. I mean, it's not like they're immune to splash damage, but they're big enough that they tend not to care about splash damage. So see how this ultra is hitting that supply depot? And this ultra is over here by these supply depots and hitting that one marine and whatever. This guy's hitting the bunker, this guy's wandering around. And these 3 dudes just kind of showing up to the fight now, and their immediate response before he microed them away was to hit these supply depots, just to be like, you know, I don't care that you have an army, and hit some supply depots. This is the greatest place to fight ultras, right mixed up on top of lowered supply depots with supply depots and bunker all around. Great way to fight ultras. So I came out ahead by 4,000. Now he continues not to be mining, but he also has no army. I think it was a big mistake to suicide those ultras in there like that. He should have sent them to expos, because ultras are great at surrounding and killing command centers. Command centers are big. You can fit a lot of ultras around a command center. Supply depots are little. You can only get 1 or 2 ultras on a supply depot. So also fighting at my main puts you right in my reinforced path, whereas fighting over at a command center, you don't have to worry about the reinforcements as much. They take a lot longer to get there and stuff. So yeah, either he should have defended or he should have mopped up CCs, but the longer he can delay the better, because he just lost his whole income and he's rebuilding these hatcheries. So you don't really want to lose your army when you also have no income, because you're not going to get another one. I don't know that I like the Zergling into Ultra transition. He went Ling, Baneling, Muta, and that was doing great for him. He was completely dominating my horrible attempt to play with tanks. And then he transitioned into Ling Ultra. I would have liked Ling Baneling Ultra, or Baneling Ultra, or you know, Infestors or other kind of stuff. Like, if you want to make ultras are great tanks, but 4 of them can tank just as well as 16 of them. They don't do damage. Stop making them once you have enough to tank my damage. And get some AoE, you know? You want the high damage, low health units like Banelings have very low health, very high damage, lots of splash. Get them in there with ultras, because the ultras make it so I can't even target fire the Banelings. They're like, you can hardly see them in between the ultras. So Ultra Baneling works pretty good. And obviously Lings do damage, have no health. Ultras go well with them. So yeah, don't emulate this build. It was terrible. I transitioned into the same 7 racks, 2 starport, 1 factory that I always get, but it took me a long time to get there. So I have 7 racks, 1 factory, 2 starports, 2 engineering bays. That's what I always get. But I started off with double racks into these 2 into getting these later, and it really delayed my upgrades, and it gave me these units that I'm not used to using, that I just can't use very well. And I didn't like it. I didn't like this build at all. Bye.